Hello, hello everyone. Welcome. How are you? So good to be here. Hello, Peter. Welcome from Sweden. Good to have you. Can you hear me okay? Hi, Judy. Hi, everyone. So excited to be here with you. Anders, welcome back. We have two people from Sweden now. How wonderful is that? How is your heart today? How is your body feeling? How are you, the whole of you? Good morning, Christopher. It's early for you, huh? Thank you for checking in with us from the West Coast. I am right now on the East Coast of the USA in Pennsylvania. I am originally from Uruguay. For those of you that are here first time, please let me know in the chat if you are. And if for any reason you can't hear my sound, please let me know right now, because that has happened before, that I was chatting and then I could read comments. I can't hear a thing. So please let me know if everything is okay, the sound okay, the video okay. And if you care to share in the chat, how are you feeling today? That would be a good start. Thank you. Thank you, Christine. I appreciate the feedback. Great. I have a very special session planned for us today. I'm going to give us a couple more minutes so everybody arrives, and get yourself a chair if you're lying down or on the floor. We're going to be working sitting on a chair today. And I'm going to ask you to take a moment for yourself. So if you can remove for the 25-30 minutes of the practice, if you can remove distractions from the room, that will be great. And who's here for the very first time? Who is brand new to the work that I do? So I know how much to make of an introduction. And who was here last week and was practicing? Last week we were working with geometry inside our body and utilizing two specific geometric patterns to see if we can find more symmetrical movement. So did you play with any of that? Was it helpful? Was it easy to remember? Ooh, look at how many new people. Laura, welcome. Two Lauras, or Lauras, as we would say in Spanish. Welcome, welcome. Mackenzie, Judy. Oh, Peter, amazing. Great, great, great. Well, welcome to my home. This is my actual home. And I been on Insight as a teacher since maybe 2020. And before that, I was a meditator, and I was using the app as a timer, actually, Insight Timer. And the first thing I did was to upload some of my recordings. I am a feldenkrais practitioner. I'm going to write down that name in case you haven't seen it on the feldenkrais in the description of the live event. And feldenkrais is something that I came across in 1995 as I was in acting school. And we had many disciplines to train the body. And this was one that I could feel a big transformation. So let's say that to say something short. I could feel actually my brain changing in real time. And that put the seed in me to begin to learn more about this work and teach it to others. Side note, that was pretty funny. Back then I started trying to share and teach what I was learning, and my friends wouldn't get it. It was too complex to teach. And it wasn't only until 2007, this was back in South America where I was born, and in 2007 I was already living in the US, and I went through a really deep, severe crisis, which you can say today was depression, and or like a spiritual crisis or crisis of meaning. I went from having a really good career in music and being in school and seemingly having all the success that I wanted, to not finding meaning in any of that. And it seemed to happen overnight. I'm sure it was building up, but at some point I woke up with this big hole in my body and my heart, like a hole, like a dark space. And I didn't know like anything, nothing really meant anything. I think that's my experience of depression. I was really sad. I was really depleted of my energy. So I began to do an in-work process of asking myself, when was the last time that I felt whole? When was the last time that I felt happy, that I felt complete, that I felt excited and joyful, like the first time. And I remember feldenkrais training came back, like all those days in acting school, and that was 2 years of training, but it had been 10 years, okay, since that time, over 10 years. And I thought to myself, if anything will get me out of this crisis, is reconnecting to that. And my intelligence knew that. So I began searching for a training, and that's how I came about the professional training in New York City. Now, this is a funny part, and this is why I'm bringing this story and giving you my personal experience, which sometimes I do and sometimes I just go straight to the lesson, yeah? When I lie down on that floor in the New York Feldenkrais Institute in 2007, even though it had been more than 10 years since the first time I've done Feldenkrais, and during the 10 years, I didn't do it, in my brain, it clicked right back. It was as if one day had passed. And that got me very excited. And of course, I signed up for the training right away. And here we are. How many years later, I became a professional of it, and I've taught thousands of people the work. Why I'm sharing that with you is so to give you an example of the power that lies in your brain, which is what we are using for this work. Of course, in the next 10 years after that, I learned other modalities that I integrate: breath work, meditation, fitness. But the most important thing is for you to understand that even though the movements we're going to do, and today will be pretty large, but sometimes they're very small, the movements are directed to the brain. The words that I use, how I direct your attention, how I'm going to ask you to close your eyes and go within, is all designed to rewire your brain, to identify patterns that perhaps are serving you just fine, or perhaps are keeping you in a state of, let's call it, suboptimal use of your potential. Let's say you are struggling with a little bit of pain, or stress is hard to manage, or you can't sleep well, or you don't find joy. Yeah, so that would be a body that is designed to be extraordinary and have an amazing life, and is running low on battery, right? It's running a little bit sub the capacity that it has. And we identify that, we notice that. And the magical thing about this work is that we don't judge that, we don't contradict it, we don't blame ourselves for that. We simply say, oh, look at what I'm doing. So today's theme it goes right along with the principles of this work, because usually you will see some modalities that will ask you to perhaps reject what you are noticing. If you have a bad habit, it's like, well, we have to change that. We have to push that away, or bad, that's not good. Feldenkrais was all the opposite. He taught us that correcting is incorrect, that no one wants to be scolded and told in a bad, judgmental way that is doing something wrong, and you will retreat from that. You will create defense mechanisms against that. Think of a child or a puppy that you are screaming at, saying, no, that's not good, stop. Yeah. Meanwhile, if when you observe the pattern, the behavior, and you identify that it's causing you some sort of strain or pain or discomfort, or keeping you suboptimal, keeping you under the maximum potential that is available for you, and you say, look at that. Especially if you can do it with a spoonful of humor. In this case, we're going to play with that today. Just kind of laugh at it. Allow it to dislodge from your identity of yourself. So you don't become that just because you say, oh, I am that, I am lazy, I am a procrastinator, I am slow, I am bad with tech, I am a poor cook, I am not flexible, I am in pain, right? We're continuously defining ourselves by our habits and our patterns. The moment you observe the patterns, the same way you would look at a young child that doesn't know yet how to maybe skip or jump, and is learning how to run or walk, and you say, oh, wow, look Look at how they're doing that. And you know that sooner or later they can learn a new way. Your body enters in what we call a state of parasympathetic. Anytime you jump, anytime you are in fear, in danger, in like, no, bad, you are in sympathetic state. You are under stress. You are ready to fight, to fly, run, or freeze. But the moment you are in acceptance or support or simply observing, like a witness, your body begins to calm down. And that's called parasympathetic state. It's the other branch of your central nervous system. It's autonomic. Nothing you can really do to turn it on and off unless you notice it and you begin to work with it. Otherwise, it's running automatic. It's like created by chemistry. Trigger, response. The moment you notice that, you go, oh wow, look at what I'm doing. We're going to play with that today. We're going to put ourselves in the little patterns that we do all the time without even noticing. You observe that, you have a little kindness, a little humor with yourself about that, and I'll explain why humor is medicine. And then we let it go. You support it with your attention, with your acceptance, with your witnessing, with your humor, and then you just simply let it go. Meaning you put it on the side for now. Forget it for now. Just drop it off your mind. Yeah? It's going to stay there. Actually, it's valuable. It's valuable that you have a very, very wired, very reliable pattern for many things. Imagine if you every time you had to reinvent the wheel and rethink, how do I do this? How do I do that? So it's very good in a way to have habits. But if they're not supporting you fully, in that sense, to allow you to feel more in touch with your maximum potential for joy, for vitality, for flexibility, for energy, for connection, for freedom, for authenticity, for living a life of presence and feeling okay or happy with yourself, then we have the chance to rewire, meaning take the cells, take the brain neurons, take the heart neurons that live in us, and begin to form new connections. How do we form the new connections? Through attention, paying attention, yeah? And through repetition. So you notice something and you do it again, and before you know it, it forms a new pathway. And the more you can identify how this pathway feels good, is efficient, makes you suddenly be more vital or more energized, have less pain, have more connection. Your brain, which is amazing in its capacity to recognize efficiency, will say, oh wow, I like that. That's good. Let me do that again. And that's as simple as it is, my friends. All it takes is that you reinforce this new pattern. Could be a new behavior, a new thought, a new movement, or something you stop doing. Not by pushing away what you don't want, simply by practicing something new. So practically, in the way of the body, that would be, let's say you have shoulder pain, which is the number one complaint in the population these days, and you don't know that you're carrying your shoulder maybe a little high when you are holding your purse or typing in the computer or sleeping, yeah? And just feeling bad every time you notice that won't change it. Or say, no, this is my bad shoulder, I can't sleep on it, I have a pain. Define yourself like that. Or take a pill so you don't feel the pain anymore, but you're gonna keep doing the thing. Won't really change it. Now, what happens if we begin for one to observe the other shoulder and how it knows where to rest? Or if we begin to introduce a little movement, like a circular movement. Yeah, in fact, we're gonna do that today in just a minute as I begin the lesson. And give this shoulder more options. So it's not only there, it's also low, and it's also forward, and it's also back. Do little circles. And before you know it, you find a new place to rest. And your brain will feel the difference. Your whole body will feel much ease and somewhat of a feel-good quality, like pleasure or less tension. So next time you practice that, you rewire, light up the brain in the same way over and over again until it becomes what you do. So when you sit at your computer, or if you're lying in bed or carrying the purse, you will notice right away the effort. It will feel bad. It will feel not great. It will feel less pleasurable. And you might remember that with the circular movement, you can bring it back to a neutral place. That's a short example of how we apply this method to movement for optimization or finding a more ideal way to be with yourself. Simply as that. It's not to please others. It will lead you to better performance for sure. It will free up a lot of energy that it's been used in holding. But it's mainly about you finding that sense of ease and pleasure with yourself. That for me, in my experience, lifted me out of depression, put me back on purpose, and allowed me to find a sense of well-being, of naturalness in the body, feeling good with the body as it is. And this works no matter what is your physical condition. You don't have to be an athlete. You can have any sort of structural challenge in your body. Some people have scoliosis or arthritis or injuries, and it doesn't really matter. Because once you find that sense of ease and effortlessness with yourself, you move that way regardless of your physical condition. It improves whatever baseline state you're in. So it's not only for young people, it's not only for older people. If you have any questions about what I'm sharing, please put them in the chat and I can answer them as we go through the lesson today. And what I had planned for today was that we talk just briefly about humor as medicine and looking for examples in your life where this is true. And maybe if you don't know, we're going to create an example. And then we're going to use maybe 4 or 5, I have a long list, but we're going to use maybe 4 or 5 different little entry points to find it in your body. Because I'm a big fan of connecting the body and the mind and not just keeping the concepts up here, but integrating them into the body. So many times we live from the head up, right? And we know all these things, but our bodies don't reflect that. Our bodies are not integrated. Hello, Tara Lee back. Yay, good to see you. Creative is here. Excellent. For those first timers, Laura, Judy, Peter, Mackenzie, how does it sound? Does it sound like something that you'll be able to do? One of feldenkrais' premises is that we go from the impossible to making that possible, and then easy, and then elegant and pleasing to yourself. So that is the pathway. That is the GPS is going to take us from something that at the beginning feels like, oh, I don't know if I can do that, to we'll make that possible, and then easy, and then feeling great. Amazing. So let's begin with finding an example in your life. And when I share from my life, it's just for you as a mirror. So you look for something in your life that resonates. I'm not the kind of teacher or facilitator that will say, just trust me, believe, don't question it. I would say question, be skeptic, see if it fits for you, like try on a new shirt and see if you like it. Okay, great. Cecily, you're on the road. Well, if you're driving, just pull over to do this. If you're on the road just because you're a vagabond, like I love to do, then great. I've been a vagabond for a long time before I had children. Good morning, Deanna. Good to see you. Okay, dears, so let's begin the actual process of applying this to life. So find yourself in a place where you can just do a little inquiry to begin with. We're going to look for a memory, and then we're going to look for body, checking in with the body right now. And so for that, you need to be quiet. You need to have a little space. So if there's pets lingering or phones or things and you can move them out, I promise you, you will get a lot more from the session. And begin to just go within for a moment and look for a memory. Could be recent or could be old, of a situation where you received some feedback, where something was brought up to your attention that made you shrink, that made you contract, that created a little bit of resistance. And could be somebody told you something about yourself that you didn't know, or you realized you made a mistake, or you found something out about your body. Yeah, look for a moment where you got some information about yourself that immediately gave your body a sense of contraction, resistance, tightness or tension. And this is internal. Yeah, maybe sometimes your shoulders will get a little tense, or your belly will contract, or you hold your breath a little bit in that moment. And you could say emotionally or feeling wise, that creates a little bit of fear, or perhaps even sadness, maybe a little anxiety, depending on the person. But the trigger is something happens, you learn something about yourself that you didn't expect, that is not what you wanted. You came out short somehow, and you feel that in your body as a state of contraction. And if that never happened to you, amazing, we're gonna create it. Yeah, so imagine now, you can close your eyes and imagine something happens, you made a mistake, or somebody told you, oh, did you realize that you you do this and that, and now create a tiny bit of contraction if you can by simply looking down and hold your breath for a minute. That's all it takes, really, to create the pattern of anxiety in the body. All it takes is to look down and hold your breath. Clench your teeth. Maybe if you need to exaggerate it, just clench. Squeeze your teeth, make a fist. That would make it even harder. It's just like, oh, damn. And just feel that for a moment and check in with your whole self. When you stay in that pattern, body pattern of anxiety, Feldenkrais called it, your whole body begins a downward spiral. It's really hard for you to reset from there into a state of presence again, or expansion, which is where we're gonna take this. But first we gotta see what is a pattern. What do we do even if you don't notice that you're doing it, as I explained in the beginning. And what we do is, when we receive that feedback, when we get triggered, let's say, by something that we didn't expect, you realize, oh, I left that thing there. Oh, I didn't do what I said I was gonna do, or oh, I made a mistake, or oh, I'm less kind than I thought I was. Somebody gives you feedback and you go, oh, don't you? And that contraction begins to crunch and squeeze something within. So create it in your body now so you feel it. And really pay attention to the sensations now in your legs, in your pelvis, in your gut, your belly, your heart, your shoulders, your throat and teeth and eyes and head, and everything is kind of crunched. And it's okay. We do this a lot. It's normal. This is a behavior that we all have. It's a pattern. It's fine. We're not feeling bad for this reaction. We're simply observing it. And now come back up, shake it off if you can, just let it go, put it out in your mind. We made a point to the brain, like, look at what I do sometimes. And if you don't ever do this, you're learning something new. But if you do this sometimes, just pay attention if you can. And if you have a journal and you want to do journaling work, it's great. What causes that? It's a cause and effect, right? So it might be conversation with a person that usually gets you into that state. It could be, it used to be in my life somebody that would text me, like a person in my life, and just seeing the text without even opening, I would feel that. And please, if this is common for you, can you give me a 1 in the chat so I know this is definitely a common experience with the clients I work with. I want to see, we are about 70, 80 people now. I want to see how common it is in the greater space of the community right now. Yeah, so clear pattern, yes, interesting. And sometimes it's micro and sometimes it's big and you stay there for a long time. Amazing. Thank you for sharing, guys. Thank you so much. So Thich Nhat Hanh, which is one of my spiritual teachers, he says this is sometimes when we have a chance to stop and smile, and this is why we're going to use humor today, partly because of his influence in my work, or this is the chance when we can use what he says, the second arrow. The first arrow, imagine an archer throwing an arrow, hitting you, damaging you, is when you feel the hurt, when you feel that pain, when that's something you didn't expect happens and ouch. The second one, to paraphrase what he says, is when we replay it, we beat ourselves up, we stay there in contraction and almost like do it again and again to ourselves. That's what we can interrupt. And this work, feldenkrais, my work, gives us a beautiful opportunity to pattern interrupt. We're not gonna wish it was any different because it is what it is. And sometimes if you think, even developmentally, it can protect you, right? Because if somebody is hitting you or hurting you and you contract, you protect your organs. You protect the heart, you protect the chest. It's perfect, no worries. The problem is when the pattern is not necessary, is over proportionate, or we hold on to it for too long. So if it happens, you identify it, you interrupt, reset, no problem. It can happen several times a day, and eventually it might happen less and less. Okay? So now that we identify the pattern, let's reset our body, and if you need to shake or walk around, you can do that. We would say refresh your attention like you refresh the browser. Turn over the page, blank slate. And now we're gonna do a few movements, okay? And I'm gonna connect the movements to humor, to smiling, to laughter eventually, for the reason that I propose, and this is something we're gonna test together, that when we can introduce the smile, imagine now that contraction in the jaw disappears. When we can introduce humor, some of all that meaning we attributed to that experience is less powerful. So now it's not just the narrative of bad, worrisome, anxiety provoking, fearful, but humor has other qualities. So humor is almost like putting an antidote into a virus, right? It lifts off some of that weight. And laughter itself resets the body into a different pattern that we're going to experience. So I'm just going to give you that summary. We're going to have the experience in the body, and then we talk about it some more. So it's not just here, it's really a lived experience. So we're going to do a few movements. Some of them are going to be extremely weird and silly, but play with me, okay? Because this is really what we want to use to reset. It cannot be very serious, otherwise it's not humor, okay? So the first movement we're going to do, and I'm going to guide you through it. I might not demonstrate a lot, so find yourself again. And if you want to close your eyes, and it's going to be that shoulder movement that I shared at the beginning. And the shoulder movement is simply imagining you have a compass, north, south, east, and west, or a little clock if you want to imagine a clock on your shoulders, and you're going to take the shoulders up. You know this movement, you've done it before, so don't second guess yourself, just play with it. Shoulders up as if you want to place them for earrings, okay? Or exaggerating the tension that it creates in our shoulders when this happens, this pattern. Shoulders up and then down and then all the way down, so you think shoulders north and south. And do it slowly first. And of course, if your shoulders hurt, do very little. Feldenkrais works with the brain, and the brain is very subtle in its input. So subtle information works. You don't need to create a big input for the brain to notice it. Think about last time somebody caressed you really gently and you still feel it, right? You don't have to slap to feel. You can just caress to feel. So that up and down, north and south, and then take them a little faster and drop. It's like a shrug, like somebody says, eh. That. I'm not gonna do it too many times. Plus everything shakes. So let that shake out, shake off any tension that you currently hold in your shoulders. And notice you use the movement to learn how far can they go and how far low can they go and what is neutral. So it's almost like you're learning about yourself as well. And you notice, oh, this feels really familiar, like maybe just a little bit high feels like, oh, I spent all day here and I didn't know that they can go low and they can go even lower. Okay, so find a way to make this about yourself. And even if I do it just because I want to feel it, I'm not demonstrating to you. You don't need to copy me. It's much better that you find your own movement. Now bring the shoulders neutral again and take them forward. This would be, let's say, east and west, or 3 and 9 if you're working with a clock idea of 12, 6, 3 and 9, and shrug forward. And this is very common just to close the chest, especially for women. So bring them forward and play with subtle. Subtle is best because these movements sometimes are not huge when we do them in real life, and you want to identify the pattern and come back to neutral. And then go back, open the front. This may feel very vulnerable or exposed, but it's okay. We are in a safe space. And bring them back to neutral. And really to yourself, identify these 4 places that maybe you didn't know that you tend to go and stay there frequently. And now go all around the circle. So you go up and back and down and forward. And this is all about learning where do you spend most time when this thing happens, when we're working with a moment where you feel contraction. When something happens, you realize you made a mistake or you learn something about yourself that you didn't expect, and ouch, you contract, right? And the shoulders move somewhere, maybe forward and up. Okay, got it. So now come back and reset, shake them off, keep them neutral if you can. All right, your shoulders for now. And now we're going to work with the movement of your pelvis. And we're going to use the breath and the sound to move your pelvis. Now, some of you don't know this, but I did a lot of martial arts before my family arrived, my children. And in martial arts, we work with the lower belly. We call this the hara, and it's a place of power. So place your hands there. It's about 3 fingers below the belly button. See if I can show you my belly. So this is my belly button and the hands are below. Okay, so place your hands there, and as you breathe in and out, push against the hands and release. Push and release. And you're basically just activating that center, the hara, or lower than Tien, the Tai Chi masters call it. You can imagine it's a ball and it's pulsing. And now we're going to use the sound, and we're going to say ha, 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 ha. And when you do that, you're going to push and pump the hara. Ha, 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 ha. We're going to see if you can activate. So try that yourself, and don't be shy with your sound. Sound is breath made expression. So Let your breath out. Ha, 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 ha. You can do 3, you can do 4, a number of times. And let that go. And again, if it's impossible, we're going to make it possible. If it's already possible for you, we're going to make it easier. So just stay with me. And feel when you rest that you can come back with a neutral shoulders, so not forward, not up. Neutral shoulders, and rest in your belly. So you're not in, you're not out. Yeah, that's okay. No worries, Joe. It's good, it's good. It's working. That means it's working. So now we're going to get even stillier here. And I'm going to ask you to take your tongue out, like the children, if you ever seen this on the road, you park on the red light and the kid in the next car goes, All right, so let's do that. Let's do that together. Ha, ha, ha. So now you connect the hara movement of ha, ha, ha with the tongue. Ha, 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 ha. And the tongue is used to free the jaw. If you feel too silly and you don't want to pull the tongue out all the way, which I recommend, just use the tongue to lower your jaw that way. And if you need your hands, use your hands. This is all about creating release here where we hold so much. And when tension comes and the pattern of anxiety comes, we clench. So, ha, 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 ha. And if I can do it in camera, you can do it by yourself, guys. Come on. Ha, ha, ha. With the belly and the tongue. Okay? And let that go. Reset the shoulders, reset the belly into rest. Observe that when you're in this pattern, if you need to create the pattern of anxiety we're working with, recreate it and notice that it's a breath hold. The belly is tight and the breath cannot happen in the pattern. So we're mobilizing. I know, April, we're getting there. Okay, good. There's one thing we need to release though before we get to the laughter movement. And this is created by early imprinting when we were young and we heard our parents cough. And this is my own work. I haven't read it anywhere, so if it doesn't work with you, fine. But check in with yourself. When I cough, I hear my mom's cough. I can't explain it, but every single time it's that sound that I heard and I naturally or instinctively imitate it. You can say, in my experience, this is a fractal or a reflection of all those programmings, all those beliefs that we took with us from childhood. In the cough, you hear it. Okay, so let's cough. Cough, and hear in your cough your parents' cough or your caregiver's cough or your sister or brother cough. Maybe yes, maybe not. And shift it. Hear it like we're doing with all the patterns. Let it go and look for a new one. And it's going to be silly and it's going to be okay. Right? So let's do it. See what's happening? The moment you shift it, the sound changes, the sensation in your body changes. How can you shift it? Putting your tongue out, moving your hara, moving your shoulders, looking for a different sound. Do your typical cough. See if you recognize any pattern there, any familiar sound that is somebody that you know. And if not, that's okay. And then shift it. Look for a new way. This is getting crazier. Okay. Did you find a cough that was familiar? If you please Give me a number in the chat. Give me a 1 if you found the cough sound that you recognize from somebody else, your husband, your caregiver. Interesting. It's gonna be fun as you let this go, because next time you're in a pattern and you hear the sound, you're gonna go, who is that? That's not my body. I claim my body. I make my body be who I want it to be. Interesting, right? So shift the sound. Use your tongue, use your belly movements, use the hara. Just for fun, just so you know that you can shift it, and your brain will know too that you're not that one pattern, okay? Perfect. So we have shoulders that are neutral or up or forward, okay? So you know where your shoulders are and where you want them to be. So you recognize the pattern, you bring them back. We have a free abdomen that you can mobilize with sound. Ha, 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 ha. You have a jaw that you can free with your tongue. Ha, ha. Connect the two. Ha, 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 ha. If some sound comes up as you do this that is old, that is from somebody else, shift it. Create your own sound. Create more than one sound. Discover your body's full of potential. Now we're gonna make this even more powerful by grounding our feet and legs and finding powerful breath. So we're gonna do a short round of fast breathing. This comes in the tradition of the breath of fire from Kundalini, or Wim Hof type breathing, which I trained with. XPT who trained with Wim Hof, Laird Hamilton, so that's my training. We're gonna do just one round for you to feel the power of superventilation. There's more of this in my page if you want to try. It's called Power Breathing in my teacher's page. So we're not gonna go into a full set, just one short set. We're gonna hold the breath, because I want us to feel at the brain level the difference between holding breath because of anxiety, which is useless, it's just life depleting, and a breath hold after oxygenation, which is a very different breath hold. This changes the exchange between oxygen and blood in your system, and is really, really good. So we're gonna do that together, and then after that we're gonna do a little bit of balancing breath from pranayama, and I'm gonna guide that. And after that you're gonna feel much more peaceful, and we're gonna put this all together, okay? And if some of you are arriving late, don't worry, I'm gonna go through the whole thing again once. So to do the breath, find your feet on the ground. If you're seated down, perfect, and cross your legs. If you're lying down, put your feet on the floor, bend your knees. And now close your eyes if you can, and we're gonna do maybe 30 breaths through the mouth, breathing in through the mouth and out through the mouth, and then we're gonna hold the breath, and I'm gonna guide you through all that. If at any moment you feel any tingling or sensations that you don't like, stop. And the moment you stop breathing, you're gonna feel normal again. All right, but all of this is okay unless you have heart, high blood pressure or heart condition. In that case, don't do it, just watch me do it, okay? All right, so calming down now, feeling your feet. And we're gonna begin by breathing through the mouth, sucking the air as if you're pulling the air out of the room, and then as if you're blowing a cake with like 1,000 candles. Okay, so you're sucking through like a straw, and then push it out. And it's all happening in your abdomen, okay, not on your chest. Let's go. Like a pump. Ten more. Exhale completely and hold. Let all the air out of your lungs and hold. For a moment, you don't need to breathe anymore, just hold. Hold. Feel the sense of bliss and peace that emerges in your body, some sort of tingling and energy moving. And hold this for as long as you can. We can hold this for minutes, guys, so you're safe. And yet, if you feel the urge to breathe, you can swallow for a moment. Swallow saliva. And if you do need to breathe again, just take a little breath and hold it again. Feel now the peace of fullness. And let that go. Begin to breathe normally again. Connect to your hara, your belly, your shoulders. Let your tongue out or let it be down in your teeth, pushing your jaw out, down. Release your teeth. And now as we come into a peaceful breath, we're going to equalize the breath. I'm going to ask you to bring a smile within, like a smile inside your body. And we're going to close one of the nostrils. We're going to breathe through one nostril. Close both. Breathe out through the opposite nostril. Breathe in through the same one. Close. Breathe out. And repeat. Breathe in through the same one. Close. Breathe out. Breathe in. Hold. Breathe out. Breathe in. Hold. Breathe out. Breathe in through that nostril. Hold. Breathe out. We're making it slower now. Breathe in. Hold. Breathe out. And now slowly through both nostrils. Now they're more equalized. Full breath in. Hold. Full breath out. Through the nose. And this is a peaceful state, the inner smile. And if you want to picture, Feldenkrais said, imagine you have a smile from ear to ear. A big smile with a free jaw. Now, we're going to connect this whole sequence. We're going to go from the tongue movement and the shoulder release through the hara and the cough and the laugh. And then we're going to find the peace again, right? And we're going to let our body know in the process, if we're holding the breath, identify how does this hold feel? Is it a peaceful hold that we just felt, or is it an anxiety hold? So at the beginning, when we do the pattern, you're going to feel the anxiety hold, right? And that's not the peaceful hold. So instead of holding your breath, you breathe in gently and breathe out gently to calm yourself down. And if you need to do with the nostrils, it works even faster. But if you can't do that, let's say you're in public, yeah, you can just breathe in, hold, breathe out, hold. We find the peace again, right? The peace after the storm. Yeah, the laughter can be like a little storm. It's an emotional shaking off of things. So first, to connect this all, first come back into the pattern. Imagine the situation again, the situation we're working with. Somebody said something, you made a mistake, or hurt somebody unintentionally, or something happened and you go, ugh. And feel right now in your body, recreate it in your body. Feel the tightness in your teeth. You're looking down. Your belly's a little tight. That breath hold is not energy flowing. It feels like sucking up the life out of you, literally, because you're holding your oxygen from coming into your body freely. Feel the shoulder position. And now let's begin. Moving your tongue, your shoulders back. If you need to go all the way back, you can. At the very least, reset to neutral. Take your tongue out and begin the hara movement with the sound until you find the cough and you find the laugh coming out of the cough. If you need to speed it up, it may help you to do faster. Speed it up, make it bigger. If you need to move your arms, make it bigger, let them move. If maybe the breath brings it, use the breath. Find the laughter. Find the moment where your body is shaking out all that emotional tightness and tension. Ha, 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 ha. And let your shoulders move. And make a sound, guys. Really make a big sound. Let your jaw drop and make a sound. And do it for as long as you can. Maintain the feeling of I don't care, laugh it off, push it out, move it away, cough it out, smile it out. Let laughter take over the body if you can. And at the very least, if you can't, just find the peace, find the neutral, find that smile within. Imagine a smile from ear to ear. And if you're laughing, slowly bring it down, down, down until you find your body peaceful again. But the vibration, the internal resonance of that laughter is still there. And in this moment, close your eyes and choose where do you want to sit or settle your body. Where do you want your shoulders to be? Where do you want your jaw to be? Do you want your breath to be free or to be held? And if you need to calm yourself, if laughing and expanding in this burst of joy is too much, bring the breath back. Breathe in, hold it, breathe out, hold it. Doesn't matter the count, or if you're using the nostril breathing, which is very fast. Could be simply breathing in, pausing for a moment, checking in with your whole self, breathing out, feeling yourself again. And now, let's imagine, without doing anything in your body, just using your imagination, imagine the situation comes back. And in this moment, you know there's a different way because we just tried it together, we experienced it. And see if you can find a bit of humor around it. Let's say somebody tells you, you did this thing, or made a mistake, or oh, did you know how selfish you are? You're taking all this time for yourself to do these silly movements. And see if you can find the microscopic, the homeopathic version of what we just did inside and go, yeah, wow, I didn't know that. Oh, wow. Okay, I'll take care of it. See if you can work with this. This would be making it not only easy, but elegant and freeing and pleasing to yourself, which doesn't mean that you don't care. Let's say you made a mistake. Not that you don't care, but you're not carrying the emotional response of fear. You're not bringing your body into a pattern of anxiety. You're staying neutral and saying, oh, okay, wow, I know what to do. I know how to take care of this. Or, wow, I didn't know that about myself. I'll think about it. So if this is new to you, this kind of forgiveness or acceptance, put a hand in your heart and just put a hand on your heart and allow this seed to be planted there, that you can receive even the hardest feedback without shame, without fear, without anxiety, because you're learning. And you're going to choose to do better next time, won't you? So there's nothing to feel bad about. So you receive with a smile because it's accepting and knowing that you can every day, in every way, become better. Better and better. And now imagine yourself again going through the situation and having that internal response with kindness, with humor, with maybe like a big belly movement or laugh. And then shaking that off faster and faster until it becomes an internal response. Not the internal response of fear and anxiety, but the internal response of expansion. At the very least, neutrality, receptivity, and if you want to, using these body movements that we use today, really move it through your body until it's gone. And it leaves you peaceful again, reset, settled into yourself again, present. So now check in with yourself one more time. Do a little body scan and see how are you feeling now. Did you learn one or two new things? Do you feel that you could use this? Even if it's one out of the multiple things that we tried today together. And if you want to, please share in the chat, how is it now? How do you feel? What is it? What's interesting for you about all this? Did you learn something that you want to play with? Did you know that this was happening? And did you know that there's ways around it? Oh, Noni, I love that. Way less constricted. Amazing. What did it for you? Was it the whole combination of things, or did you find one? Because sometimes what happens is we find one thing that unclicks. Like it could be simply letting your tongue out and you just reset. Robbie, a little less fearful. Nice. Oh, I love to hear that. Amazing. My nervous system is regulated. I will practice these breathing techniques. Wonderful. So I have all these breathing practices longer in my page, and in the tracks on my page, my teacher's page. Anders, feel very calm. Yay. I love that. Yeah, that is a calm nervous system. That's what we want. Did you hear that saying that remaining calm in a crisis is the highest, most valuable skill? Right? So if we're taking everything as a crisis and responding with fear and anxiety, we're not really making the best out of our capacity. Thank you so much for your donation, David. Appreciate it. Ginger, definitely more relaxed. The tongue really helped my TMJ. Absolutely, yes. I love that. Yeah, tongue movements are fascinating. I have a jaw lesson also on my teacher's page and my website. Yeah, go to my website. There's a lot more information there. Laura, really helped me feel positive about shifting a certain habit. 100%. You are a miracle. All of us are. We are designed to be extraordinary. The capacities you see in super athletes or Olympians or celebrities that sing amazingly or dance amazingly, we all have a body that is It's a blueprint for all that. And it's partly what we tell ourselves that we can, the image of ourselves that we have, which is what we work with here. And also the practicing something new and releasing or unblocking what might be contracting it and holding it back. Imagine your potential is like a endless waterfall, right? And we're used to a faucet, right? Or a drip. So how can we make more of it? How can we allow more of it to flow through us? Peter. Oh wait, Christopher says more energy, less tired. Amazing. By the way, sometimes this tension that we experience is consuming a lot of energy and we don't realize it. And tension can be in the mind, can be in the heart, can be in the body. It's all connected. My latest metaphor for that, guys, is that all these little habits that we keep running in the background without doing anything about them are as when you have 50 tabs open in the computer and you don't realize that they're using memory, or when you have all these apps open on your phone and they're draining your battery, and the moment you close them all up, you're saving battery. So all these tiny extra things, which Feldenkrais called parasitic effort, and I talked about it a couple of weeks ago, they're running on your own energy. So the moment you reset some of those, what happens? You free up a lot of energy, battery power, memory power. Yes? So it's worth doing the work of scanning yourself and noticing, where am I holding efforts that I don't need? The mind, the heart, the body, all of it. And if you want to go to my site, on my website, which you find on my teacher's page, there's a tab called resources, and you'll see all these live, you'll see versions of these events there that I share. So you can replay it even if you didn't know about my work until today. Let's see, who else? Peter says, I'm excited to try it out in real life anxiety situations. Bravo! That is what I always want to hear. This is useless if we don't use it in your real life. It would be like, I know the encyclopedia, but I don't use it. So apply it and you're going to feel immediate benefits. Chances are you're going to have an easier time in those situations, resolve them faster, but also they won't be consuming you at night, keeping you awake. Those are the tabs that are open at night, right? So resolve, let your body feel that ease, especially if you find the movement useful, like the tongue movement we did today, or the hara movement, or the cough into laughter movement. Use it to reset. If you need to excuse yourself, Peter, in a live situation, and thank you for your donation, by the way, I really appreciate your support, guys. Peter, if you find yourself in a situation and you notice a pattern coming in, you can say, I'm sorry, I'll be right back, I'm going to the restroom. And go and do a few coughs in the restroom. If you can make a sound, do the tongue movement, belly breath. Reset your body intentionally. It will work so fast, you won't believe it. We are these ultra intelligent beings that can program ourselves very efficiently if we know that we can do that, we believe in it, and we know how to do it. Yeah, and these are the tiniest little things that can make a big difference. Cicely, I was so relaxed, I drove off the road. Oh my God. Oh no, you're kidding. Okay. I'm glad you're vagabonding. Where are you in the world right now? Are you in Sicily, and is that's your name right now? That's so cute. Laura, thank you so much, and thank you. You're a first timer. I hope you like the work. My style is always like this. It's humorous, because without humor, life wouldn't be as fun and as exciting, and it would be a lot more suffering than I want it to be. So I'll always interlace some of it in my lessons, but for the most part today, finding the power of it. And you've heard this before. Can you laugh at yourself? Can you find something to be silly about? Take out the tongue to a child on the light. Do it yourself. And not only the kid will do it back at you, because that's what they do, but also you will feel freedom. Freedom is the ultimate ultimate experience for the human being. So whatever's contracting you and constricting you from experiencing a teeny bit more freedom, even if you have to do it by yourself in your house with the door closed, I don't care. Feel it. Okay? Feel that freedom, feel that laughter, run through your body, the power of the breath. Check out on my teacher's page a lesson called Power Breathing. That is 15 minutes of the breathing we did today. That superventilation with holds, and it can leave you in a very peaceful state. And I've heard also that it relieves migraines and increases energy, and it's good for the immune system and all kinds of things. Thank you, Christopher, for your donation. Appreciate it, dear. Thank you. Johnny says, combination of breath, tongue, and connecting with lower dantian felt really relaxing and embodied. Thank you so much for saying that. Yeah, that's my own integration of elements that I feel more and more comfortable sharing as I get older and more experienced. Because sometimes you do have to do that, right? You have to bring elements, in this case from feldenkrais, from martial arts, and from breath work, and see how do they fit. And if they fit for you, it looks like they did, do them again. If only one of them did, just repeat that one. But if all of them did together, there's synergy there. There's exponential effect, because they work better together. It's like 1 + 1 is not 2 in this case. And last thing about that is the reason why we want to do it again. I said it at the start for those of you that are here late. The reason we want to do this again, it's because it's brain plasticity based. Brain can change its wiring, but all it takes is that you do it again. Like playing a new musical instrument, or learning a new language, or painting, or cooking. You don't just do it once and you're an expert, right? You have to do it again and again and again, and eventually it becomes nature. It becomes second nature. Okay, so if it worked for relaxing you and making you feel more embodied, spot on. Do it again. Do it again whenever you can. And this will be posted on my site, this session, in about a week. Sicily is in the very alive Sonoran Desert. Amazing. So good to know. All right, my dears, any questions before we go? Because I'm good. I'm complete. I shared as much as I needed today. Look, I made my notes in preparation for the session, and all of them are complete. And my note at the end is we're working with fear and anxiety versus joy and expansion. So who felt that joy and expansion? Can you give me a 1 as we go? If you felt a little more expanded, if you felt a little bit more joy, even the possibility, even just the glimpse of, oh, this could be fun. Thank you so much. That is really reaffirming. Thank you. Yay! Well, Lunar, feldenkrais did some of it, but most of it is my smoothie, the way I combine things. But feldenkrais definitely works with the jaw, the tongue, and the pattern of anxiety. That is spot on from feldenkrais. I like to find fast ways to reset from there. So I combine it with the breathing and the hara movement. Nostril breathing is from pranayama. That's a very old tradition, and it works really quickly, right? It's amazing. Thank you so much for the ones, guys. Yay! So you felt a little more joy and expansion. Now please take it out into the world and make others feel better with your presence. This is what we do. We share who we are with the world and make the world better that way, isn't it? My dears, next Saturday at the same time, I think, let me double check, March 16 at 11 a.m., I will be presenting a similar length session, about an hour and 15 minutes. It will be all about slowing down. We're going to talk about the art of slowing down. It's based on 2 principles. Feldenkrais was so big on slowing down, because when you slow down, you can notice a lot more. So imagine you're driving and you're going 70, 100 miles an hour and you can barely see the road, right? Everything is going so fast. But if you're going through a country road and you're driving 20 miles an hour, 30 miles an hour, you suddenly are able to see the landscape. Maybe you see trees, maybe you see birds on the trees. So that is the effect of slowing down in your nervous system. It's so underutilized because we are living in such a fast-paced world where information travels so fast that when you are able to slow down even a little bit, not from 70 to 25, but maybe even 50, or slow down internal processes where you learn to think slower and break something up and observe more. What happens is a nervous system reset is immediate. You get really calm, but also you get more efficient. And this is based on another principle which I learned in my fitness training, which comes from the military, which is slow is smooth, smooth is fast. And Feldenkrais intuitively knew this. When you slow something down to the point that you can make it really smooth, then you can speed it up and it will maintain that perfection, that quality. Meanwhile, if you're only moving fast, chances are you'll begin to hurry and drop things and be clumsy and sloppy. So we slow things down, we notice more, and then we speed them up and maintain that quality of noticing throughout. Okay, and that's what we're gonna do. So it's gonna be fabulous. I invite you all back at 11 Eastern next week. And in the meantime, you can follow my page, you can send me a message, you can make a donation, you can go to my website. If you're interested in learning more, there's a lot of information there. And yeah, come back next time. Thank you so much, you guys. Thank you, David. Yeah, this method is really good to move things around the body, but also the mind and the heart. At least that's my take on it. Like, body just wants to house a heart that is connected to the brain and in balance. So it's all a beautiful organism. Okay, my dears, sending you much love. Know that I appreciate you. I really, I feel grateful and honored that you choose to spend this time with me. And I would love to see you again next week. Okay? All right. Thank you, everyone. Go to my website. Look for my website on the teachers page. And I have some of these videos on the resources tab on my website. And they get uploaded. It takes about a week to upload. So you will see older ones and you can see this one next week. All right, my dears. Good to see you. Big hugs. Be well. Anders, see you Monday. And much love to you all. Thank you for being here today. Bye-bye. Thank you so much for watching, and don't forget to subscribe. See you in the next video.